trick-or-treating.
What? No, come, that is ridiculous.
Feliz Halloween!
It says, just take one. Scary.
Burger King is gay.
Give me a treat.
No.
Step up, bitch!
Don't lock it! Don't lock it! Oh!
Cut off your fucking finger? No fucking problem. Cat chop!
The very first Halloween short wasn't really even supposed to really be anything. Will and I were working at Time Warner Cable in Malden, Massachusetts.
It's a fabulous day for golf here at Castle Creek Adventureland.
Let's check out the action.
This just in, Castle Creek is now offering a full line of Treadwell's ice cream. It's tasty and good for you. As a matter of fact, I remember
the whole time we were, shooting cable ads, we were doing our own independent stuff. And borrowing the equipment from Time Warner to make our own projects.
Halloween has always been just like the biggest thing for me. Like what Christmas is for most people, that's my Halloween. I have a Halloween tree, I have Halloween dinner, Halloween presents. And so I was having a big Halloween party. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool, since we have access to all of the cable company's equipment, if we made a short film to show at the party? And I put together this thing called Columbus Day Weekend.
You know, they say these woods have a death curse, that this lake is jinxed.
Oh, great. So we come here camping.
Mainly because that was the only holiday that there wasn't already a horror movie for. It was going to be that Jason and Michael Myers stalk the same campsite by mistake and then fall in love with each other. I took a lot of lines from different classic horror movies, and for my group of friends who are into this type of stuff, they would recognize the various lines of dialogue.
I was hiding behind a tree, I jumped out, and you yelled, "Johnny, you'll be damned to hell!"
I still hear Adam's voice in my head when I was trying to deliver those cheesy lines.
Me little? I don't hear you complaining. Hey, do you guys like head cheese?
And as someone who writes and produces and directs, I was like, that was pretty cheesy. And he's like, no, you gotta go way cheesier.
Come here. There's nothing to be afraid of.
It was also an exercise in just doing kills on screen, because we had never done that.
We wanted to figure out how we could use blood in a movie. It was totally an experiment, just to see if we could do it.
We were messing around with power tools, with we had fans out in the woods, we had sanding grinders, and we had bags full of fake blood and chainsaws, and it was a rollicking good time.
We were going to shoot it on Super 8 film because we were going to record audio on the Betacam camera just to record sound. It turned out that the Super 8 film looked terrible because it just looked awful. So we ended up going to the Betacam camera for the whole short.
We were shooting at my friend Scott Barnes' parents' house. They had woods behind their house, and so I asked and they said yes. Now, their only thing was they said, we're going out for the night. Just do not let the cat, Dusty, out of the house. He'll try to make a run for it. It's so hard to get him back in the house. Don't let Dusty out of the house. Fine, no problem.
We must have heard Adam say 10, 15 times, people, whatever you do,
don't let the cat out.
And so what did we do? We let the cat out.
You could still see their taillights leaving, going down the road, and Dusty was out of the house. We lost about 2 hours trying to capture Dusty and get him back in the house.
Everyone is running around the house looking for the damn cat.
I think we opened a can of tuna fish, and I was able to sort of bait Dusty out from under this bush. We get Dusty back in the house. Finally, we're ready to start shooting our movie. And one of the actresses is like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I thought of it right as she got up to the door, and I'm like, no, no, no.
Cat gets out again.
And this time, like, we didn't have time to coddle this cat. So I just reached under the bush and grabbed it.
It's like, rah, rah, screaming, 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 claws him in the eye.
Got me right in the eye and just pulled and just slit my eye open. Not my eyeball, but the eyelid. And because your skin is so thin there, it bled. Like, there was just blood everywhere.
And we're looking for alcohol or some way to sterilize the wound. And I couldn't find anything but tequila. So we held Adam down and I poured tequila in his eye to keep him from getting infected.
For those of you who have never had tequila in your eye, it burns wicked fucking bad. And so that whole first night of shooting, I had to do it with one eye closed. That was on fire and blood running down my face.
It was a cold, dark, fun night, and we had a really good time doing it.
It taught us a lot, including that was really the introduction to Victor Crowley's belt sander. If you watch Columbus Day, Dina DeSecca gets a belt sander to her face, and that was like the one kill that we thought actually looked pretty good. And it was like, all right, hold on to that one for later. Columbus Day weekend, we just needed a logo because we were mimicking the opening credits to Friday the 13th. And the party was that night, and Will and I are just like trying to come up with a name. And we came up with ArieScope because we're both Aries, and it sounded like a film term, I guess. And we had no idea it was gonna stick. So the original logo, if you look at it, it's the Dodge Ram, just squeezed. We were working on a commercial for Dodge at the time. So that was it.
Nobody expected anything of it. Back then there was no internet, so it wasn't like we would film this stuff and it would wind up on YouTube.
But we showed the short, and people laughed, and then they started asking for copies, which back then were on VHS tapes. And before we knew it, it started getting passed around and passed around. And eventually I got an email from a guy who worked at a talent agency, UTA, out here in Hollywood, and he had gone to high school with me. So he recognized some of the actors in it, he recognized my name, and he said, there's a bunch of agents here laughing at your short film. And it was like, wow, it made it all the way out there.
It's pretty cool that a bunch of guys messing around in the backyard playing with camera equipment could make something that, started somebody's career.
The most difficult short to make was definitely Stage Fright. Way too ambitious for a short film with absolutely no money. I think there was 39 actors involved. There was about 12 different locations, which was 12 different company moves, and all of it shot over a period of like 24, 48 hours.
This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
I was still living in Boston. Adam was here, and so I had to take that flight from Boston to LAX the day the airports opened again. So I was coming out here to film Stage Fright. Went to Boston Logan Airport. It was empty, super creepy. Got on the airplane, a giant 47, and it was me somewhere in the front of the plane and one guy in the very back of the plane, and that was it. There was nobody else in the plane. It was the most frightening thing to walk through that door of the airplane, to go in the day the airports opened after 9/11 to film Stage Fright.
The two planes that hit the World Trade Center were both direct flights from Boston's Logan Airport to LAX in Los Angeles. We can never take for granted that if we had scheduled our shoot just 1 week earlier, Will might have been on one of those planes.
I never went to film school, but I did come to California to be an actress and then ended up becoming a producer. And when I had met Adam, I was already kind of doing associate producer work. And it just sort of fit in because Will was the cameraman or DP, and Adam was the director, and the last big piece of the puzzle that was missing was a producer. I've always been sort of a take charge leadership kind of gal, so it just worked out that I fit that role as producer for them.
You can't piss in a public can? Christ, keep it down.
He gets pee shy if there's anybody else in the bathroom.
We put it in the breakdowns and had multiple people come in and audition. I don't know what we were thinking. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing, but we did it.
You know, it was a real thing.
I mean, my favorite part of Stage Fright is that we needed to rent a porta potty, and that was my job. I had to figure out how to rent a porta potty, and it's very easy. And we had put it in my girlfriend's backyard to make it look like a concert, but it was really just this tiny little backyard in Encino. One thing I'll never ever forget, and every time a truck goes by, because we used Andy Gump, but we didn't want to have any like copyright infringements, so we changed it to Andy Dump on the outside of the. I remember coming up with that and thinking that was really funny.
Come on! Someone's at the pier here!
This ain't no time to be pitching and loafing shit, motherfucker!
That was the first time we got railed on boobs.
So in Stage Fright, it calls for a scene where there's two characters in bed together, and we wanted to have nudity, which is not something you normally get out of a short film.
Oh, but one time I was in bed with this crazy Italian chick.
We shot the scene, and the short came out, and then Linda got cast on a very big network reality show. And she contacted me and she said, this could be a problem. Literally in this short, topless, yelling,
I want you to fucking piss on me!
What? And that was weird. I do remember the sex scene being done in my bedroom, and so it was very weird to see a naked girl like humping this guy.
She had signed a release, the whole thing, and I think we did pay her. And we had every right to just say sorry and leave it up. If anything, it would have maybe drawn more people to the short because of this other thing. But of course we weren't gonna do that. And so we blacked it out. So when you watch the short, it's weird because like any angle where you might have been able to see anything, there's just a black box over it.
Tell me how dirty you are, slut.
Oh, filthy.
It's like incredibly distracting when you watch the scene, and it does definitely ruin the joke a little bit, but you gotta do the right thing.
Stage Fright, I think, was the most complicated because we shot it on film. We didn't have any money to buy film, so we literally had to shoot the movie to edit.
Normally, when you do a scene, the actors will go through the scene and you get everything from a wide shot, and then you'll get what's called coverage, where you get everybody's medium shot or close-up. Well, we didn't have enough film to do that properly, so I had to plan it out beforehand which lines of dialogue would be a close-up, which ones would be a medium shot or a wide shot, and only shoot those things. So when the camera was set up for a wide shot, we literally just said, all right, go and just do these lines that are gonna be in the wide shot.
We would roll the camera, say that line, and cut.
And now imagine being one of the actors and still trying to give a good performance when, as soon as that film starts going, you hear it. That's money. So it's like, all right, action, go, say the line. And they would say the one line, cut.
And then we'd move on to whatever the next shot would be in order, roll the camera, say that line, cut.
That's all we had. I think every bit of footage that we shot is in Stage Fright. That's not how you make anything. That's not how you make a movie.
That was huge. That was the biggest the first one was the biggest production of all of the shorts. That's so funny. Because after that, they got smaller and smaller and smaller, and they were done in one night. I know we did not shoot Stage Fright in one night.
Son, you don't have to go through life like that. They've got them surgeons now in Beverly Hills. They can give you a good extra half an inch or more.
Stage Fright is the only Halloween short that really has nothing to do with Halloween. Usually, as long as there's like a pumpkin in it somewhere or some sort of reference to Halloween, it counted as a Halloween short. But with Stage Fright, it just so happened that we did it in the fall and released it around Halloween. Then we made another Halloween short, and another, and it just became this annual thing.
I think that doing the Halloween shorts every year just kind of sort of happened.
What's your name?
Sherry.
Sherry. I'm Craig.
By the time we made O'Sherry, we were starting to actually know what we were doing. I was living with a guy from the real world when we made that one. He was my roommate, Kyle Brandt. That one was actually based on something that my childhood friend Mike Dussault had written. And when I read it, I was like, Mike, like we have to do something with this. Because like, let's face it, we all know a Craig.
It's me, Craig. From the bathroom last night.
Oh, Craig, hi.
You know, that guy who is just super socially awkward and actually means well, but just doesn't understand things like boundaries.
Craig, this has to stop. Stop it.
Hi, Sherry.
Or what the word no means.
What are you doing here?
I just came to get my stuff back.
What stuff? You were here once.
Well, that's fine then.
Plus, by setting it in the 80s, I got to put my vast collection of awesome concert shirts to good use.
If it hadn't been for Sherry, I never would have found my soulmate. Her name is Amanda.
Amanda.
Oh Sherry is still one of my favorite shorts that we've done. Since I was living with Kyle while his season was airing, it was The Real World Chicago, just The Real World was on my mind. I had never watched the show before and I haven't watched it since, but I watched every episode of that season. So wanted to do a parody of it.
This is the true story
Of 7 strangers.
picked to live in a loft, work together, and have their lives taped.
To find out what happens.
And how fun if Michael Myers was one of the people living in the house with these characters that are all stereotypes, which is sort of what that show does, where they stick them on a house together and hope there's going to be conflict. But we had made that one originally not even as a Halloween short. It was for a thing called Channel 101, which was kind of like a big social event at the time, where a lot of comedians in my circle of friends, you would make a short film, they would show it at this big party, and then everyone would vote. And if you were voted a winner, you made a second episode of whatever it was that you had done. A lot of memorable things came out of Channel 101. House of Cosby's and The Boo that the Lonely Island guys did. And Real World Hollywood was not accepted. And I was like, why? And they said, because it's a parody. Anyway, we made it into a Halloween short instead and made lemonades out of lemons, or lemons out of, we made a drink.
Alex, do you have anything to say?
No.
No? Maybe that you have a penis?
You asshole!
So in 2003, we actually wound up making 2 shorts. When we did Steven's Room, and that was one I was really excited about because it was serious and it was supposed to be scary, and it was all about the mythology of the jack-o'-lantern and where it comes from, which is something that a lot of people don't know. And it was a lesson in being harder on yourself with the script and to catch problems before you shoot. Because what ended up happening is the female lead, played by Denise Forrester, she tells my character the story of the jack-o'-lantern.
You're not supposed to blow out the jack-o'-lantern before midnight.
And it's a long story, and the coverage was just, we're lying in bed, so there's only so much coverage you can do. And it was just boring, really boring. And to try to save it, our friend Adam Starr, who knew a thing or two about visual effects, and again, we're talking consumer grade visual effects, he illustrated her story and added all of this stuff with like monks and caves and this flyover of the town. And by today's standards, it looks pretty chintzy, but it really saved the day because you couldn't get through the short without it. Definitely not one of our best shorts, Steven's Room, which is too bad. The whole concept of that short was to be very Twilight Zone-esque. It was a serious one, which was rare for us. And the idea was that the main character never speaks. He never says any words. Anytime he's about to speak, he'll get cut off.
Did you neuter that damn cat? Save it!
What I was excited about when I wrote that one was to try to convey a whole story through an actor's emotions.
Are you 305? What the hell do you do in there?
So two things that sort of went wrong. One was we didn't have a real actor to be the main character, which was sort of important in that one. Sean Kisker was just a friend, had the right look, but was not an actor. The bigger problem was that we were supposed to have an actor that we cast to be the landlord, which is an incredibly important part of that short because the landlord delivers all the exposition and the point of the story, which is that our main character has been on a business trip for a week, yet everyone is complaining that they can hear footsteps and screaming in his apartment, in his bedroom every night at midnight on the dot. And this is very important information to get across. Well, the actor we cast just didn't show up. It happens, you know, in life. People don't come through for you. And what are you gonna do? You're not paying them in the first place. Some people just aren't professional and don't care. So, dude didn't show up, but his agent did. His agent, who had just recently started working with this actor, felt so bad and knew that they had completely screwed us. Like, what were we gonna do now? We're in the middle of shooting and homeboy doesn't show up. So she said, I'll play the part. Again, not an actor. So I would just say each line and she would repeat it after me. And some of the lines were pretty long, so we'd have to do it in pieces, where I'd be like, did you neuter that damn cat? And she would repeat it after me. And once I felt like we had it, I'd move on to the next line. But if you watch closely, you'll see just how often we are cutting away from her. It's because we had to cut me out saying the lines.
Every damn night at 12 on the dot. You know my bedroom is right under yours, don't you? I hear everything. I know it's coming from your bedroom. I hear the footsteps.
That one had a fairly smaller cast, and it was all of us just really closely working together. We really did share a lot of roles. I know that whether we were holding flags or lights or, you know, lifting up couches. No, that was TiVo.
Midnight marked our very first time working with effects artist Rob Pendergraft, who wound up becoming one of my closest friends and an integral part of the family ever since. He spent about 5 hours making Mike Tussaud up as the ghoul, and he's on screen for less than a second. In the beginning, the annual Halloween short was just for fun, just for us. It's Halloween time, let's make another short. But after the first couple years, then it became expected.
After the first 2 or 3, people expected them. They expected them. Oh, they're like, oh, it's you know, Halloween time. Where's the short? Where's the short? So, you know, eventually we had to make them every year.
The most fun thing about that is just always trying to do something different. And we don't tell anybody what the concept is or who's in it. It's always a surprise each year.
Trick or treat.
I think you outgrew Halloween about 20 years ago, pal.
When we shot Trick or Treat, we were actually in post-production on Hatchet, our first real feature film. And so we were incredibly busy. Because of that, I wrote something that would be as simple and easy for us to make as possible.
I can see your balls. Happy Halloween, trick or treat.
At the time, I was also still doing stand-up on a regular basis. So I called on my friends Chris Romano and Eric Falconer to be in the short. Two of the funniest, nicest guys in my circle of comedian friends.
It's Halloween. Yeah, and you're not a kid.
So?
What do you mean, so?
So I'm a wandering spirit who needs a treat.
No, you're a loser.
You're a loser.
You're ringing people's doorbells begging for candy.
You beg for candy.
They actually went on to create the TV show Blue Mountain State just a few years later.
I love making shorts because we have complete control over them. They're, just a couple of days or one day, to get them done. And, so you get to see that story play out really quickly. The turnaround is really fast, and we have full creative license to make whatever short we want.
The King is one of the most creepy mascots ever. I have no idea what Burger King was thinking. The King being so frightening, of course, we're gonna make a Halloween short about the King. And we had a friend, Ryan Turek, who sounded so much like Jack from Jack in the Box that it was obvious what the short was going to be.
How does $800 million sound?
Run!
My favorite part of making that one was Robert Pendergraft, who's not an actor. He played the King.
I like playing the King. That was kind of fun, running around with the chainsaw, in Ryan's house. I'm not sure that he had a lot of people ever running around his house with a chainsaw.
We shot King in the Box at our friend Ryan Schifrin's house, who had joined in on the Halloween short both that year and the next year. And by house, I should say beautiful mansion. We had so much fun watching Jack and the King run around this gorgeous home, neither of whom could see or hear a thing in the heads that Pendergraft had made for them.
King! What's going on? I didn't realize it was you downstairs.
How we didn't break anything or hurt anybody, I still don't know.
Ah! Why? Oh, my head!
After the first maybe, 6 or 7 years, one thing that we did is we stopped taking credit. We stopped giving individual credits, written by, directed by, director of photography.
Adam always makes sure that this was made by all of us. It wasn't made by him or the writer, which is also Adam, or the actor, who's sometimes also Adam, but everyone else there too. He always wants to make sure that this is a collaborative effort every year.
It's a team thing, it's a family thing. And so that's why most of the shorts, you'll notice it just says made by and just lists all of our names. That's something that's always made me happy. Whenever I see that credit at the end of one, you just see this group of names and you're like, those are my people and we did this.
Sam, you are 30 years old now. I mean, we're married. Trick-or-treating is something that kids do.
What's up, man? You ready for this?
Oh, no. Originally, Tiffany was supposed to be played by Danielle Harris. About 2 hours before we were supposed to shoot, Danielle got really, really sick. And Tiffany Problem was a huge cast. There were so many moving parts involved with that one. So it's not like we could just cancel it or reschedule it at that point. And I happened to be on the phone with my friend Milo Ventimiglia, and he said, well, I know somebody who would be good. Do you know who Corey English is? And I was like, nope, but she sounds great. If she's available and can do it, just tell her to come by.
See? Halloween isn't so bad.
I don't have anything against Halloween, okay? It's just that you act like a 6-year-old every year. This is the last time you were ever going trick-or-treating again.
Well, come on, it's...
Okay, the last time.
Fine, okay.
Just watching Joel David Moore deliver the lines that I wrote in Tiffany Problem, I mean, it was just like sitting back and watching a show. And you just knew as you were making that one how enjoyable it was going to turn out.
Who the hell are these guys?
Who the hell are you?
Sam?
I don't know who these people are.
Sam, it's your brother.
Shut up, random guy.
See? That is why I would never get married.
It's a fun team of people. You know, we created a family a while ago, and it's been a cool journey along the way. They always seem to carry this sort of family from project to project, and it's been really cool to watch. And I pop in whenever I have time, and yeah, it's. I mean, look, they've created an entire world.
Do you love me?
Love?
Are you sure? I love you too. Mwah. Look at all this candy.
When you think about it, that we went from the Tiffany Problem with Corey English to the TiVo with Laura Ortiz, it was really, it was the kind of the birth of Holliston.
I met Adam about 10 years ago. At this point, I don't even remember how. And then Adam just kind of calls me over all the time, like we hang out, and sometimes it's like we end up just watching movies, or sometimes we end up filming something. I never really know. I just show up, and then he'll be like, put this on, or that, like the TiVo costume. Just calm down.
TiVo, I'm sorry. I think it's time I switch back to DVR.
The TiVo spawned from the fact that I just loved my TiVo. I found that I would wind up like trying to almost be a spokesperson for TiVo.
It records all your favorite shows and does everything for you.
Wicked.
Yeah, seriously, you gotta get yourself one. It'll change your life.
But when that short came out, TiVo acknowledged it, and I believe YouTube made it like their featured short of the week, which was kind of cool to see. And TiVo had posted it, I think, on it was their YouTube page, or I don't remember now because it's so long ago, but they had acknowledged it, which I thought was really cool because, I mean, in the end, the TiVo winds up becoming obsessed with its owner and killing his cat, and killing his girlfriend, and having to fight to the death. Really what made that short were the felt faces that Pentagraph made for it. Something so basic and simple.
TiVo? Were you just watching me sleep?
And I think that's just a testament to the fact that you can make something good with nothing but creativity and the will to try to get it done. A little bit of ArieScope trivia that not many people realize. Nicolo from Jack Chop and Holliston actually first appeared in the TiVo as Perry Shen's friend on the other end of the phone.
Oh, kid, I gotta jump. I got one of them call waitings.
All right.
All right, have a good one, dude.
All right, you too.
Later.
Good night.
Good night? What are you, queer?
Little did we know then, but one Halloween later, Nicolo would break the internet.
Hey, it's Nicolo with the Jack Chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day, 'cause it's gonna be jacking your fucking pumpkins away with the Jack Chop. Fucking.
The Jack Chop was just one of my favorites to make because it's just so over the top.
Jack Chop was a throwaway short. We had no time because of the other stuff we were working on. So I had seen that Slap Chop commercial on TV. It was really annoying.
Hi, it's Fitz with Slap Chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day because you're gonna be slapping your troubles away with the Slap Chop.
Paul Sollett and I had just come off of making Grace. And since we were both from the Boston area, something we would do just to amuse ourselves on the set of Grace is we would, talk in Boston accents.
Set up the fucking camera, point it at the girl.
Let's shoot.
Put the baby in the fucking tub. Right? Get 6 tall boys. Go down to Packy. Fucking.
Not Kid Packy ain't open, dude. That's fucking
pack of Newports.
You're fucking retarded, dude.
Don't be a fucking prick.
A few months later, he was going to do a short, and
and reached out and said like, hey, can you come be a masshole on, for this Halloween short? And I was like, of course.
We're gonna make Halloween fun again, one pumpkin at a time. And if you call now, you're not just gonna get the Jack Chop, we're gonna throw in a fucking glow stick, free.
I did not expect Jack Chop to take off the way it did. It was really a surprise. I remember going back to Boston, to see my family, and like literally people trying to buy me, drinks in bars and stuff like this.
We didn't think much of it, and we thought it would only be funny to us because we're from that area. And then instantly, just like, boom, it became so big so fast.
I remember like being in the Boston Commons and like literally a guy like screaming from across the park like, hey, Nicolo! Like it was like really crazy. And the radio stations that, Adam and I grew up listening to were like, it was like one of their buttons, and, like they had like Nicola buttons.
The phone number we had used was 1-800-JACK-CHOP. And we thought that would be okay because that's too many numbers to be a real phone number. But of course, people started calling and they wanted to order it. They wanted the free fucking glow stick, kid.
Call now and you'll get the fucking glow stick absolutely free.
We ended up getting a cease and desist letter from, I want to say it was like the FCC, but it was like a real government agency telling us to remove the short immediately because this person's business was being shut down. They couldn't answer their phones. Every time they answered the phone, it was somebody being like, I want the fucking glow stick and I want to order the Jack Chop.
I love that if you watch the short, you'll see out the window over his shoulder, it begins, it's like daytime. And then in, 45 seconds, it turns into night, like over his shoulder, because we couldn't afford. I tried to put lights on the trees out there, tried to make it look like daytime, but it just doesn't, it's just nighttime.
With regular knives, it can take forever. They're not safe for kids. But watch how the Jack Chop slices right through the— Oh, fucking whore! Yeah, you cut off your fucking finger? No fucking problem. Jack Chop.
They're all scripted, and without a good script, you can't have a good story. You can't make a good short unless you have a good script. And Adam Green just he just cranks them out. I don't know how he does it. He doesn't sleep. That's how he does it.
So for a silly short that we made in a few hours, that was only going to entertain us, it really became kind of a phenomenon. And that's the problem, man, with shorts. People will say, sometimes you'll have a meeting somewhere and they'll be like, make me a viral short. You can't predict what's gonna go viral and what isn't. And sometimes you'll spend all this time and money making something so great and you can't compete with a cute cat video or a guy getting kicked in the balls. Like, you don't stand a chance. But Jack Chop did it, which then added a ton of pressure for the next year. Everybody wanted a sequel. At least that's what they thought they wanted. Had we done a sequel, it never would have lived up to it. We would have been repeating ourselves. And the whole point with the Halloween shorts is to try new things. So that year we purposely did one that we knew could not compete with Jack Chop. You're really just gonna take one piece of candy?
Well, yeah, dude, it's the honor bowl. You're supposed to just take one.
Come on.
What?
It was, cute, not hysterically funny. Of course, we had Nicole make an appearance at the end just so people wouldn't crucify us.
Honor bowl. Fucking boss. I got your fucking honor bowl. Honor bowl's a queer.
Thankfully, people really liked that one too, and it did well. You know what that sign says to me? It says, I hate Halloween. It says, I kill puppies.
It says, just take one.
Well, if you take part in that and you just take one, then you're basically supporting the Satan-worshiping terrorist that lives here.
Fine.
The shorts were always our reset button. So you go through the year and it's hard work, it's frustrating, things don't necessarily work out like you thought they would, you're waiting for things to happen, and then you get your friends together and you make a short that's just for the fun of it, and especially in my case, just for the love of Halloween, and it makes you just feel better about what you do. It reminds you that you do love doing this, and it is worth it.
I think the best thing about doing all of these shorts and most of Adam Green's projects in general is that he does bring in a lot of friends, and it's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of, everybody is a professional working actor who really enjoys what we do. And so when we get to do it for fun, and for quality, we always know that it's going to be a quality project, it's going to be funny, and it's going to be with other actors that you love.
What keeps me coming back is I think the fear of missing out, of being involved with it. I've been fortunate enough to be part of a couple of shorts, but there's also a lot that I haven't been, and every time that happens, I know that was a blast.
They're fun, I like doing them, and you know, I do kind of look forward to them every year, because as much as we're all doing things, as if we're working on a movie or if we're just working on our own project and stuff, it's a good way to just kind of break from reality and just kind of go have some fun for a couple days.
In 2011, when we made the short called Downloading in You, which is a kind of 1950s PSA about illegal downloading.
Hey, you there. Are you downloading a movie illegally on the internet?
That was a challenge, because you're taking something that is a real problem, a very serious problem, something that has hurt and affected all of us and continues to this day. Piracy of movies and people just thinking they should never have to pay for art anymore. Those of us who make a career in the arts, it's killing us. And so to address that, but try to do it through comedy and in a very lighthearted, ridiculous, over-the-top way, was a challenge.
So you don't care that what you're doing is destroying people's careers and crippling the arts?
There's always truth in comedy, and so when you see something that is a very serious subject matter and it's put together in like a lighter way, I think that even if you're guilty of doing that, you can see that and go, oh, I see what I'm doing wrong here, and it relates to people. You know, everyone likes to laugh just like everyone likes to be scared in a weird same sense.
Did you know that you're breaking the law? If caught, you could land yourself a hefty fine and even jail time.
It's funny when somebody says illegal, whatever it is not wrong, because your sentence started with illegal. Illegal means not legal, therefore wrong.
You're a fan of those movies, so that means you should be able to just take them, right? You'll stick it to the man and show him, won't you?
Watching Ed Ackerman just dissolve before our eyes and turn into, I think he gets like crabs, he gets leprosy, all these ridiculous things just because he was stealing movies.
In Downloading in You, Cole, my other son, was in that one because he's the one that gets hit by the car. I'm actually driving the car that runs over Cole.
And then of course the button at the end where Dave Foy, who has been with us really since the start, even before the mock trailer for Hatchet, we had done like an interview with a Louisiana bayou kind of rednecky guy telling the story of Victor Crowley, and that was Dave Foy, who has now been in Hatchet 2 and Victor Crowley.
Are you posting trash talk on an IMDb message board?
We were in the middle of shooting season 2 of Holliston when we realized, oh shit, we need a Halloween short and we need one in like a week. So something that I had been thinking about for months that year leading up to it was the giant gaping plot hole in John Carpenter's original Halloween, where Michael Myers supposedly as a young child was put into Smiths Grove Sanitarium and just stared at the wall for 15 years or 13 years, whatever it was, waiting for that night. Well, how did he learn how to drive?
Hello there, Michael. Welcome to your first driving lesson. Wow, that's a nice mask there. You a Captain Kirk fan?
They sort of address it in the movie where one of the doctors says, for Christ's sakes, he doesn't know how to drive a car. And Loomis says, he was doing very well last night. And so it's like, what if there was a deleted scene right there in the movie where you saw Michael Myers learning how to drive? So we made the short and we cut it into the movie to show where the scene should have gone. The hardest choice, though, was should he be wearing the mask or not? Technically, he would not have the mask yet. But is that funny? I mean, would it be funny to watch a person taking driving lessons and killing their instructor? No. So of course you have him wearing the mask. And we addressed it at one point. Joel, as the driving instructor, says,
How do you have that mask that... Whoa, okay, wow.
Driving lessons is probably one of my very favorites. Just the look of it. It's so good, and Joel is so good, and I remember like throwing like a head at the window. I always get excited when I'm the one throwing something that's going into the frame and it needs to hit exactly.
As an actor or a stunt person, you love working, regardless of what it is, but there are more fun jobs than other ones, and certainly doing like the shorts are the pure fun ones.
Kane and I had done a lot of work together before driving lessons. We had obviously done an entire feature together, and we had been toured and done premieres and all of this, and this was a way for us to just relax and just have some fucking fun. You know, sitting next to each other and being goofy. You know, Kane is actually a really good actor. He's really funny. I think that people really didn't know this until sort of Adam brought this out of him and was able to show in these shorts and other features how great of an actor he is. So, there was a wonderful nostalgia about just us being able to fuck around in that short.
It was a lot of fun because we were the only ones in the car, and he's ad-libbing stuff constantly, which from my point of view, working with an actor that comes up with things on the fly is so much fun to work that way.
Watching Joel make Kane crack up behind that mask was really fun.
He comes up with something in the middle of a shot. Something pops into his mind and he'll start talking about it.
That whole thing was scripted except the bit about ginger cookies that Joel threw in, which came out of nowhere. And we blew the first take because the crew, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 of us, all just burst out laughing.
My mom, she used to give me ginger cookies when I had an upset tummy, but then later after that, she would make me throw them back up because I didn't deserve it. You see?
The amount of arguing online. This isn't real. There's a car in the background that's not from the 70s. Of course it's not real. Like, and it even said parody or spoof or something in the title. So we had a blast watching people argue over that one. How much do I owe you for it?
Don't worry about it.
Wow, thank you. What time tomorrow can you...
No. Just keep it.
Come on, man, don't be ridiculous. At least let me pay you for it.
Keep it!
When we were making Digging Up the Marrow, our art director shows up here with this beautiful coffin. And I was like, instantly, how much did that cost? And she said, that's the thing, it's free. We don't even need to return it, it's yours. And I was all excited. Free coffin, I mean, in this place, of course we're gonna use it probably 50 times for stuff. We'll make a coffee table out of it. And then Will said,
Hold on. Some guy you don't even know gave us this. I mean, how do you know he didn't, like, cut up his mom and leave her in there?
why would he do that? I've never seen a group of people so scared as when we cut off the straps and opened that coffin for the first time.
Open it!
You open it.
It's your stupid coffin!
No, it's the company's stupid coffin.
But it's weird too that he bought a used coffin. It's like, well, what happened to the person who was using it?
What are you afraid of? Come on, do it.
I'll do it.
Then do it.
I'll do it right now.
Why do I have to open it?
Now, in reality, there was nothing in there. Certainly not a Spanish puppet, but we knew we had the intro to that short. It was easy. As soon as that story happened to us, it was like, oh, this is definitely a Halloween short. But then where do you go? No.
Hola, me llamo Panam. Feliz Halloween. ¿Quién quiere un abrazo? My hand was actually in Panam. And I was actually doing all the dialogue then. Laura
sat behind all the furniture and would pun them up every now and then and do her lines and whatnot. Jim Henson puppeteers, they always voice the puppets that they're doing because they can match them up a lot easier and give them the expression and the physical expression as well.
You know, surprisingly, Laura did such a good job. I know puppeteers, and I know how hard it is to use a puppet. I was really impressed. Adam laughs because there's this one shot where the head kind of goes wonky.
Originally, Punham, the puppet, was speaking English, and we recorded it in English with Laura Ortiz's voice, and it was funny. But then I asked her to start saying the lines in Spanish, and it just went to a whole nother level.
Ah, ¿te estás escondiendo en un castillo? Hanum le encanta construir castillos y compartir secretos.
Why are we in such a remote area? Why won't anybody help us? I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
I got to act in that one, and it's kind of funny. I'm a terrible actor, but everywhere I have a line, my lines are taped to something. So you'll see, like on the casket, Adam asked me a question. I don't remember what my line was, but I have to look down at the casket for my line and then say my line to camera because I just can't remember lines. It's just something I can't do. So that was fun.
It sort of feels like you kind of win like a little bit of a lottery because everyone enjoys watching these shorts. And it's funny how our friends do sort of get a little jealous when they haven't been asked to be in one. So it was that simple. He was like, look, I just want you to be a coffin salesman.
Hey. Whoa, dude, this is awesome.
No, yeah, I mean, it's all yours. I said, you know, I'm not an actor, right? I'm really not comfortable in front of the camera. He was like, oh, no, it'll be fine, it'll be easy and stuff like that. So just came here and did the short and everything. But I don't know, there's something about getting to be in one of the Halloween shorts that you just have a little, like, you know, little point of pride to it and just like, yeah, that's cool. I made it. I made the cut finally.
Feliz Halloween, mi amiga especial.
I had a white dress and it had skulls on it, and I'd always wanted to dye it pink. Oh, fuck. And so that's why I chose to wear it on that night, because I knew it was going to get completely ruined and it was going to show the blood like really good. I wanted it to, if I was going to endure that, I wanted it to look really, really good. I still have it. It's pink.
Escuchamos que había una fiesta.
Hey, did I wake you up?
When we did Happy Halloween in 2014, that was one of our only other attempts at a serious one. And it was so great to have Shawn Ashmore and Bria Grant, plus Will's son, Sam. That was also the first time Sam was in something. But to have two really strong actors do a piece like that, where it was very unexpected for our audience, because at that point, the Halloween shorts were always silly. And then we did something really dark and serious.
It was cool to do one that was less goofy. I often get asked to do goofy stuff, so it's fun when I get to do something that's a little more serious. And I think especially with Adam's stuff, it's not all, a lot of Adam's stuff goes both ways, but I think he definitely has a side of him that can make dark stuff that can really spook you.
Why do I have to limit how many times I talk to you when you're away?
Because I'm dead.
What?
I'm dead, David.
In my personal life at that point, I was suffering through a depression and a lot of bad things that had happened, and you can really feel that and see it in that year's short.
You murdered me. And Travis.
I'm cold, Daddy.
I think a lot of people who work in this industry, unless you're some sort of rich dilettante, you have to take jobs that aren't necessarily the things you want to be doing unless they're not artistically fulfilling. And so getting to go and do something with people you like, people you respect, who are making something they're really excited about and you're excited about, it kind of fills that artistic cup again and gives you like, okay, I can go do one more commercial audition. I can go do one more thing I don't want to be doing just because I can go do this creative thing on the side.
We have to go now. Please, please, please. Allison, please don't leave me.
Happy Halloween, Daddy.
Don't go anywhere. Please, please. Allison!
When Adam texts you, he texts these really long texts and then you just feel like you have to respond yes because otherwise he wrote all that text for no reason.
Happy Halloween, Daddy.
Oh, come on!
He's under the covers. He's under the covers.
Monster Problems is a contender for favorite short ever. It's right up there with Tiffany Problem. Having 3 comedians like Derek and Kelly and Colton who just were so funny.
I am so hungry. I have not eaten in months. I am bloated. I haven't even had my period since I died.
Stop! Tonight we eat.
How, man? He's under the covers.
And the concept, the things that we do as a child that we think is supposed to protect us. Like if there's a monster in your room trying to eat you, how are the sheets gonna save you? Or a nightlight, or jumping into the bed. Things that we've all done and all thought about. To have that play out and see that they work, that monsters are defenseless to things like that, and to see how frustrated the monsters get just because the kid hid under the sheets or there was a nightlight and they're scared of it.
Are you crazy?
There is a nightlight over there.
New plan.
What I like about Adam's mentality behind it, everything that he's approached me to do, it's always for the fans. And being that I'm a fan myself, I feel like I'm a fan representing the fans, I'm like, I love his heart, and he always has our best interest in mind. So as a creative in general, like, no matter where you are in your career, no matter what your medium is as an artist, doing shorts, you're always gonna get better. So the more experience, the more time you get in front of the camera or behind the camera, or whatever you're doing, just keep making things, and you'll, just through experience, you will get better as an artist.
Scary.
No, don't say scary. Who does that?
Okay, what is your beef with me tonight? Because all night you've been giving it to me. Every which way but loose, man. I can't come out to bed right. I can't say excuse me.
No, try this. Get a little flame in your throat.
Yeah, man, that's what I was doing.
Scary. And don't see, you did it again. You said scary. Don't say that. Just say the other stuff.
I didn't say scary.
No, you definitely said scary.
Did I? I don't remember saying it.
Go like this. Go like you're dying. Be like.
No, try this. Go.
What is this? Are we pirates?
Probably one of the cutest shorts that we've done, but I know it's one that a lot of our fans who have children have shown their children that, and it's made them less scared of monsters.
Dad, help!
Run. Hide it!
There's monsters in my closet again.
Don't do it! Down here, asshole. Yeah, that's right. The pumpkin is talking to you.
Don't do it just stemmed from the idea of feeling bad for pumpkins. Almost the same thing as like pine trees. You know, every year they're raised and they exist just to be chopped up and cut down, and it's just, you know, the tradition of carving a jack-o'-lantern made me think, kind of feel bad for the pumpkins.
Look, okay, the trick-or-treaters are gonna be here any minute. I gotta get a move on, okay?
Don't do it, Benji.
Don't call me Benji, Bobby.
Then don't call me Bobby.
You started it.
Whatever, Benji.
It's Ben.
Benji.
Ben!
Benji.
Screw this.
Wait! Did I mention that I'm a magical pumpkin?
Really dumb idea, but when you have somebody like Chase Williamson as the guy trying to carve a pumpkin, and then you bring in Sid Haig as the voice. That's just so many levels of awesome.
For reals, just rub me. Think real hard about whatever it is you want the most, and I'll make it happen.
Okay, fine. But, you know, for the record, I'm not buying this, okay? Please.
And for the record, you just rubbed my pumpkin nuts.
Ew! What?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I was just joking, man. You were nowhere near my balls, okay?
And how lucky to be able to call Sid Haig and be like, will you be the voice of a pumpkin in this stupid short? And my favorite thing about that was we could have gone to Sid to record his voiceover. We could have done it at any time, but he wanted to be there to be the off-camera lines for Chase.
You always have to be there for the other actor. I don't care what. If he's a first timer and he's got one line, you have to be there for him, okay? Because when it comes right down to it, it's a team effort, and you got to be a part of the team.
That's an actor. You know, like a real actor would never let the other actor in a scene act opposite a C-stand or somebody else just reading the lines. And especially for an unpaid short, like Sid did not need to do that, but he did.
Do you guys keep getting tweets from this Framingham Slayer guy?
Oh my god, yes.
I know what you guys are talking about. Every time I post something on Instagram, he leaves me these like morbid threats.
Oh, you mean, wait, where is it? Hashtag Holliston cast must die.
Our 19th short, A Holliston Halloween, that really stemmed from the fact that people have been waiting a long time for another season of Holliston. That show has just been put through the ringer with the death of a cast member and with the network being dissolved, having to wait for the rights to come back, even just our lives and schedules to line up again to be able to do another season. We wanted to give fans of Holliston something.
Listen, Adam, I think I can speak for all of us when I say that.
Your scripts for the new season are garbage. Is that not what we were all gonna say?
It's a little bit of a hard move to do with one of the Halloween shorts because now you're making something that is only for the Holliston fans. That's not the type of short that anybody else could just stumble upon online and enjoy. But it was important enough to all of us to at least acknowledge Holliston and give the fans something.
What are we gonna do about that crazy stalker guy who wants to slice our faces off?
Don't look under the table. What are you doing? But what was really hard about that one was that it was in the middle of my tour for Victor Crowley. So it was being edited back here while I was on the road, and I'm literally watching cuts on my phone in the car driving from place to place. And it was really down to the wire. Because normally these shorts come out around Columbus Day, like middle of October. And that one didn't come out until like 2 days before Halloween. And these things have a shelf life, you know?
Every single year, it's exciting to see the variety of what it's going to be because you're never going to be able to predict what the Halloween short will be, and if you try, you'll be completely off.
So we do the shorts because we love making movies. And so the more you can just do your craft, the better.
I definitely have like a real soft spot for short filmmaking. It's the first kind of filmmaking that most of us do. And you know, it really is practice for feature. It's the beginning and middle and end, and if you can make a short well, you can make a feature well, mostly.
My advice to up-and-coming filmmakers is something that I learned from Adam and Will, and that is make your first film and finish it. Just finish it.
Believe in yourself even when other people don't. You know, nobody out there is going to be, you know, have the silver bullet. Nobody out there is going to be have the secret to making it big. You just have to do it.
So if you're filming a short and you don't have a lot of budget, you don't have any money, there's two things that are really, really important. One of them is to have the script fit the scope of the project. It's really important because if your script doesn't fit your project scope, then you're gonna fail. I mean, you can't have like you can't have a car blowing up, car crash, burning down a house when you don't have enough money to make that happen.
The other piece of advice is if you want a lot of people to watch your short, make sure it's short. It's the biggest mistake that people make with short films is that they're too long.
Figure out what you really are good at and what you really love, and there's a difference there because what you're really good at may not necessarily be what you love. So once you figure that out, figure out how you can combine those skills and then figure out how you can use that to be part of a team to fill out those other roles.
You need that core group of people who are there to support you and be honest with you, tell you if what you're doing is not so great, or just reassure you that you're not insane for trying to do this.
When there's young, aspiring filmmakers, they will write into Adam all the time, how do you do this? How do you do this? Can I make shorts? I want to work for you. And Adam will always say, go find your people. I have my people. We make our things, but you can do it too.
You can sacrifice a couple of days of your life, but you get to film something great, and you can experiment with lighting because there's nobody looking over your shoulder. It's not like a Chevrolet commercial where there's suits all around the monitor, critiquing your photography. You get to experiment. You get to do what you want. Shorts are freedom. Shorts allow you to express yourself photographically any way you want, and there's no one that's going to tell you that it's right or it's wrong.
We started 20 years ago. It's so much easier to do it today. You can shoot it on your phone. You don't need what we had, film and developing, and you can even edit on your phone. I mean, so go do it.
I always thought that we would end with the 20th one. 20 years felt like, God, 20 years is a long time to be doing this tradition. 20 years, think about that. And so I always thought the 20th would be the final one. And I've had the idea for the 20th one since I think year 13 or 14. And I saved it for this year, and that was gonna be it. Unfortunately, it seems that I'm being overruled on that, and that everyone keeps saying, you gotta go to 31.
31. We're gonna do 31. There's 31 days in October, and that is the highlight of Adam's life.
But think about it. If we go to 31, I'll be 28 years old I'll be like 54 if we go to 31. And Will will be like 96 if we go that long. So I don't know if will live long enough to do 31 of these. They'll just every one of them, we're always half waiting for Will to turn into dust.
I'm not sure what the future of the shorts are. I don't see any reason to stop making them because they're a blast, and we get such great people involved in them.
It's hard to believe it's been 20, first of all. God, that's unbelievable. And I was so young and vital then, and really good at killing people. So I guess nothing has changed.
I think the ArieScope Halloween shorts are important for everyone, but everyone who's making it and then everyone who's watching it. I feel like a lot of what goes into those shorts, a lot of that passion that drove everyone to get into this crazy industry in the first place was based off of doing these guerrilla type, no one's gonna get paid, we're all gonna show up and just do something that we're all gonna be proud of. And it'll be, an evening that would have been spent at a bar or going to the movies instead. Why don't we just make a movie ourselves?
We'll see how far we actually go with it, but it's probably safe to say that this year, number 20, will not be the end.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned through making 20 years of short films with ArieScope is to remember to have fun. And if you're not having fun, it's not worth it, because it's not easy, and it's long, and it can get hot, and it can be uncomfortable, and we tend to have really great attitudes the whole time, and that was a pact we made a very long time ago, that if we weren't having fun, then we weren't going to do it.
And if you can have fun at work, then the work becomes better.
It's the people. You're there, and it's the same folks that you've had a relationship with and a friendship with for years. I just on my way over here, I'm like, wow, I've been working and I've known all those guys for 10 years. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like we just shot Frozen a couple months ago and Hatchet 2 a couple months after that. But you know, any chance I get to work with these guys, I immediately jump.
Did I ever think ArieScope pictures would last as long as it did? Hell no. To be honest, we hoped so. But nobody really expected much from the journey out to the West. In fact, we thought they were pretty much going to get chewed up and spat out, you know. But we were very happy to find out that they had the tenacity to stick it out and to last this long.
To me, the reason why so many people work so hard for them and are psyched to be a part of what they do is that they're just good people. They're good, honest people. Adam works ridiculously hard. Will works ridiculously hard. Nothing they do is halfway. And that has shown from the very beginning.
You sort of feel like you have a little bit of a filmmaking community, and you know, you kind of grow together as filmmakers, and you sort of share your wins and losses and learn from each other, and you know, it's nice to just be able to have some history with people.
He has created a filmmaking family and has extended out to his friends who have been asked to either participate in the movies or help out in some way.
We all hang out outside of these shorts, and getting to work together is just like a cherry on top of everything that we get to do.
Whenever I'm on a different set, I always miss my ArieScope people because there's no ego and there's no competition. And we have each other's backs. So it's always more fun to shoot short films with your best friend.
I think it's really incredible that Adam and I have been able to stay together for 20 years in doing this stuff. And it's because we just have such good mutual respect for each other, and we're good friends. So, you know, we have been able to, you know, keep this ArieScope Pictures thing going for this long. And I just think there aren't a lot of people in this business that could say that they've completed all of the works that we've done together. And it's just really great to be able to have a career that you work with that's super creative, and you do it with a good friend, and it just doesn't seem like work.
When we first moved into this studio that's been ArieScope's permanent home for over a decade now, I had written, "To all who come to this scary place, welcome," over the doors outside that head into the main office. It was a take on Walt Disney's famous speech that he had made on Disneyland's opening day. I just wanted ArieScope to be my own little island in Hollywood, like a fun, happy place where we could dream and create together, a studio that may physically be located in Hollywood, but that was our place within the Hollywood system, safe from the negativity and the other just more distasteful aspects of this industry. So every day when I come to work, I look at that with pride, because ArieScope has become the place that I dreamed it would be for my film family. 20 years later, the fact that there's been so many friendships here, people have gotten married, there's been children, there's been deaths, there's been divorces, there's just been everything that happens in life, and it's all happened here under this banner. And the fact that so many of the same people will come back no matter what. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and say, "Do you wanna come play?" And they're right there. That's truly special, and not a lot of people have that, and I never take it for granted. I think that Ram logo, I know I'm not a tattoo guy, but if I was ever going to get something that symbolized what I am, who I am, what I love, what I'll hopefully be remembered for, that logo says everything. And I know it's come to mean something to a lot of fans. I've seen fans who have it tattooed on them. It just doesn't exist everywhere that you look. You know, there's filmmakers that we love, there's properties that we love, and movies or whatever, but to have a place that represents so much, especially, you know, to us and to the fans who have gotten us this far. The fact that fans go out of their way to support us, that's why we do this, the shorts. You're giving back. We don't want anything, we just want your laughter. We want your smiles. We want to make your day a little bit better, even if it's just for a few minutes. And that means everything.